Hi, and welcome to our webinar today. We're going to discuss in this particular webinar the thing that in C4 Practice Services we do better, I believe, than anyone else with medical and dental practices. And that is to help people to understand vision. What vision is, what it's all about, what it means to you, what it means to your practice, and how it can affect your life. We do this every single day. In fact, we center everything that we do around this concept. And I know that it makes a valuable difference for you and a valuable difference for your practice. And it will continue to return dividends year after year after year after year. There's nothing that is more important than understanding the purpose and direction of your practice. There is nothing that you can do that's going to bring you more benefit, more result, more long-lasting peace and satisfaction in your job and in your practice and to those who work with you than to know clearly what is our direction, what are we here for, what are we all about, and why are we doing this every single day? Why are we doing this? And that's what this is all about. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the understanding of what this means. Now, to start off, I want to use a quote from a person that I know that all of you are familiar with, and one that I think the perspective is very unique to most anyone else that we could pull a quote from. This is a person who went through her life without ever being able to see. Now, you know by now, we're talking about Helen Keller. The quote, wow, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. Have you felt that before? Have you been there? Have sight, but no vision? I think that a lot of people, a lot of doctors, a lot of staff in medical practices are absolutely there. They go to work every day, they have sight, but they don't know why. What's the purpose? What's it all about? Now, in helping you to understand this concept, because I've had to explain this so many times, I've come to understand that one of the best ways to help people to understand this is to think of it in terms of a horizon, more or less. Okay? You look out in the distance, and as you look out in the distance, what do you see? Well, for most people, they see a hill. And that hill is oftentimes very, very present in their lives. And sometimes the closer we get to it, the more it obstructs the view of everything else around us. And that truly is what this analogy is all about, is that when we see those hills, when that is what's out in front of us, we have no idea what's beyond it. And you see, people work so hard in the medical profession, people work so hard in healthcare to get to where they want to be. So whether you're a doctor and you put in all of the years of study and education and training to get to where you are right now, or whether you're an RN or a CMA, doesn't matter. What's important is that you had to work hard to get to where you are. Now you are where you are, and where you are is filled every day with stuff. And so it's so easy to get blinded by what happens every single day, that all we can see is the hill. We can't see beyond. Once in a while, it's helpful to put in the effort to climb the hill. You see, and that's what we help people do, climb the hill. Now, you can do this on your own as well. But what we find out is if you climb that hill, once you start to get up there, your current vision blurs, it changes, and you begin to see things that you never saw before. Why? Because they were always on the other side of the hill. They were always out there. You just didn't know they were out there. You couldn't see them. Once you go through the process of vision, you know they're there. You know you can see them. You can make it happen. That's what vision does for you. It opens up new possibilities, new opportunities that previously you didn't see. It's not that they weren't there. You simply didn't see them. That's what this is all about. One more example that I want to give you. Now, this one isn't an analogy. This is real life. One man's vision. One man that's very near and dear to me. One man that sets the bar and sets the standard for everyone else when we consider vision. There are a few people in life who have the type of vision of this one man. Now, as a young child, he had an idea of what he wanted to do. He loved to draw. He'd doodle around. His father didn't like it. His mother encouraged it, as often happens. But born inside of this young man was a dream, an idea, a concept, something that he felt he could bring to reality. In fact, he didn't just feel it, he knew it. He knew he could make things happen that had never happened before. So young Walter would dream. He would think and dream. Throughout life, life presented many opportunities and many experiences, all of which he learned from. But this man did eventually begin to fulfill his dream. Now, it wasn't without bumps, it wasn't without mistakes, and it wasn't without bruises. Believe me, they were all there for young Walt Disney. But he persevered, he knew where he was going, he focused on where he was going, and that's the only direction he headed. Everything else was simply an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, and that's what he did, and that's what you can do too, if your vision is as powerful as was his. Now, he didn't just stop at motion pictures or animated pictures as we know him for and love him for, we appreciate for. He also began to see possibilities in entertainment that hadn't ever been done, like a theme park. There had never been a theme park before, but he could see it. He knew what could happen. And, the rest is history. We have legacy of his dreams. I know these very, very well. I know Walt Disney very, very well. I understand the power of vision. I understand the power of his vision. I've shared it with so many people. I've gone to these places. I've taken people to these places. I know what this is all about. The power of vision is enormous. It doesn't matter whether you're building a multimedia empire, as it is today, or whether you're building a practice or you're working in a clinic. You need to know why you're there. You need to know what the purpose is, and you need to know where you're headed. That has to be present every single day for you to remain engaged in the process that you're in. So, one man's vision becomes something that everyone is familiar with today. Now, that's not the practice that you're likely building or the clinic that you likely work in. That's not its purpose, okay? So we have to understand and take the relevance of what this means and break it down to our world and what it means in our world and why that's important. So how we do that is through a process of focus. We have to focus on first, what's important to me individually? Why did I do this? Why am I in this? Why am I here to begin with? And how well does that align to the business purpose or the purpose of the practice rather? How well does my vision align to the practice vision? Now, when you were hired in the organization that you work in, or when you created it, you may have understood the purpose. You may have understood the vision to an extent. But how clearly focused are you on the alignment between what I want, what you want individually, and what the practice needs and what the practice wants? That's critically important. That's what this is all about. I want you to understand that there is such great power in vision, but not without focus. Without focus, what you see in the future changes. It's blurred. We never are clear as to where we're headed. And so it always is evolving. It's always changing. And that is going to slow you down. That's going to cause mistakes. We want to be clear on where we are. We want to be clear on who we are. And we want to be clear on where we're headed. That gives you true power. So focus is incredibly important. So in this short webinar, I'm not going to teach all of the concepts of vision and how to bring that about. It's way too extensive. I spend days doing this. I spend 2 full days with people doing this. And so we really don't have time to do that right here, right now. And besides, the setting is not appropriate to make that happen in a way that would be meaningful to you. But what I can tell you are some places that you can start, all right? So determine what's most important to you and why are those things most important to you? How do you know that those things are most important to you? Once you can answer all of those questions, once you can be solid in all of those responses, you are well on your way to understanding your purpose, your vision. So first, determine what's really important to you. Then, determine what's really important to the people that you serve, okay? Your clients, your customers, your patients perhaps. Now remember, patients and consumers are often different things, like in a pediatric practice. The patient is not the consumer. The consumer is the parent of the patient, but we have to treat both nonetheless, okay? The patient experience pertains to both of those individuals. So to understand what's important to your consumers, because as we understand what's important to us and as we understand what's important to our consumers, we then can blend those things together to create a vision, that has purpose, that has meaning. And that's what this is all about. I want you to be able to create that vision for yourself and for the practice that you work in. Why? Because I know the benefit of doing so. Not only the benefit to you individually, the benefit of peace, the benefit to your staff. I know the power of that part of it. I also know the power and the benefit to patients. As you go through this process, your patients feel the difference. They know that you're there for a particular reason. And as long as that reason is aligned to their being there, then everything seems to work out. It is a beautiful combination. I've watched it over and over and over in the practices that we work with, to watch what happens, that transitional process of what happens when we simply plug in vision and everybody gets behind it. It will make such a powerful difference to you and to your practice. It's hard for me to even explain. I see swings. Even if you just look at the practice numbers, new patient numbers go up. Recently, just very recently, analyzed one of our practices and saw a 25% increase in production. 25% increase in patients seen that year in this highly specialized medical practice. Wow. The number one contributing factor, there's a vision. It's clear, it's understood, and nothing stands in its way. That's what people are there for every single day. You can bring about the same types of changes in your practice, in your clinic, wherever you work, by simply knowing, understanding, and aligning to vision. So as we begin to think about vision, I do want to leave you with one thing from our company, and that's what we call the Vision Quest. Now you can find out more about this by going to our website, but truly, it is the most powerful program that we offer. It's the most powerful, impactful thing that happens. I've seen lives change. I've seen lives change over the course of 2 days as they go through this process. It is exceptionally powerful and exceptionally worth every investment that you make in this process. And the more people put into it, the more they get out of it. It is incredibly powerful, and I strongly encourage you to at least take a look at the Vision Quest. And if it's not in your plans for now, perhaps you can plan for it in the future. It is well worth every effort that you take. So as we consider vision, as you consider vision for your life and for your practice, I do hope sincerely that you find it and that you live it, and that becomes the driving force. It becomes everything in the work life that you have. It is phenomenal to watch what happens when vision becomes a part of a person's life. It can become part of your life. It can become part of what you do every single day. It can very much become a part of the patient experience that you provide day in, day out, you and all of staff. It's a wonderful transition. It's a wonderful process. I wish you the very, very best in all of your efforts. Find that vision, live that vision, and remember, it's all about the patient experience.